I never know what I'm going to say until I get up here. I really don't. I don't have a prepared speech. I have a couple things I like to talk about, absolutely, but you know, normally I sit and kneel and talk to God for a little while, ask Him that you know, whatever I say to you guys will convict you to do what's right, and in some way I hope that you know, He'll be glorified through what I say. Now, I'm not a pastor. Pastor King will be here to preach to you here shortly. I mean, you had two pastors. Pastor just sang, and then you got Pastor King here. And so you're going to get to hear about God, which is always a great thing. I love talking about Him. I love acknowledging Him. I love telling people I'm a Christian. It's very, very important to me. That's what's actually gotten me through this last year and a half. I've always leaned on God, but this last year and a half, my prayer life's gotten a lot better. So, now you notice when I said I was a Christian, I didn't sit there and tell you I was a Baptist, a Lutheran, a Catholic, a Pentecostal, or nothing like that. I told you I was a Christian because my job is to serve this country. Or, I'm sorry, my job is to serve God, not Baptist, not Lutheran, so on and so forth. Now, I'm also not near as important, but I'm an American. And I'm very proud to be American. We should be grateful that we live in this country. Now, when I say I'm an American, though, I didn't sit there and tell you I was a Republican. I didn't sit there and tell you I was conservative, a Democrat, a liberal. You know, again, that's not my job to serve those groups. My job is to serve America, and that's what your job is to do, is to serve America. And we get too wrapped up in party politics and forget the real reason why we're here, and that's to make this country better, not our parties better. The Republican Party and the Democrat Party, they're big businesses. They're big machines. The Republican Party in the month of March of this year collected $11.4 million. $11.4 million. They hosed people and got $11.4 million. They cheated people at $11.4 million. The reason why I say they cheated people, because you know how much of that money you're going to see? Not a damn dime. You know how much money that's going to go back to the community? It's not. It's going to go to the Good Old Boys Network. That's what it's going to do. It's going to get people like Newt Gingrich back in the office, maybe, or Karl Rove going around, or what have you. It's going to go to the Good Old Boys Network, and it's not going to go to fighting for our cause, and that cause is America. That's why you're standing out here right now. That's why you're slapping mosquitoes away. That's why you're sitting here listening to some fool dressed like me. You guys want what's best for America, and that's what I'm about. You know, I'm not about the Republican Party by no means. You know, this last election, I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice because we failed as Americans. We failed in our responsibility. And that's one of the things I like to talk about is responsibility. The simple fact that no longer do we talk about responsibility because it's no longer exists. Our heroes, our sports heroes, our politicians, they're always passing the buck. They're always saying, well, it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it. I thought she was 19. You know, they're always passing the buck, and that's what they're teaching our children. And we hear it every day from TV, from radio. They're making excuses for one thing or another, and it starts to creep into our lives the way we think. And we think, well, you know, I can get away with that. I don't necessarily have to follow that. And it does. It creeps into your way of thinking, just inadvertently. Not because you're bad people. It happens to all of us. You know, that's one of the reasons why God wants us to go to church, to be surrounded by like individuals, to reinforce us in this worldly, secular world. And, you know, with these tea parties, these American movements that we're having, it helps reinforce you and know that you're not wrong in your way of thinking. It's everybody else that's wrong in their way of thinking. It's the fact that they become lazy and complacent, and they allow someone else to do for them instead of doing for themselves anymore. And that's where we've gone wrong. You know, let's talk about some social issues real quick. I believe in social helping, you know, as far as welfare, child care, so on and so forth. It's very, very important. But unfortunately, we've taken advantage of it. We've sloughed off some of our responsibility as our community and gave it to the federal government. And now you have the federal government trying to tell us how to raise children, how to, and why we should do it, and so on and so forth. Because the community no longer steps up and raises children, no longer steps up and provides assistance for them. And so they sloughed off that responsibility that is the communities to the federal government. The federal government's Washington, D.C. They don't care what's going on here. They don't care what's going on in Toledo, Ohio. You know, they only care about what they can get out of you to benefit themselves. And if you don't believe that, then you're a fool, quite bluntly. I'm sorry, I'm pretty black and white if you haven't figured that out yet, and if I offend you, good. So, responsibility is key. Accountability. You guys remember Chris Dodd? You know, he lied to us for about 2 weeks, you know, because he put in the paperwork for AIG to get their bonuses. I mean, he's a perfect example. He lied outright to you for 2 weeks. No, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. Finally, it came out that he did it, and he couldn't refute it anymore. He's like, yeah, I did it, so what? None of you guys are going to hold me responsible, so, you know, or accountable, so I'm going to keep doing it. You know, he's not in jail right now for embezzling from the American taxpayer. He's still a sitting senator, and he's still going to keep screwing you guys. Okay? That's his job. That's what he does. Politician anymore is synonymous with liars, crooks, and thieves. That's what politician means. Now, as statesmen, that's a different story. That's what we need to start electing. Statesmen, stateswomen. We need somebody that actually understands what it is to be an American first and foremost. Then we have to understand what the Constitution actually says, because most of them don't. They really don't. I mean, you have Phil Hare there down in Illinois who came right out and said he doesn't care about the Constitution. Even though he took an oath to uphold the Constitution, he came right out and said he didn't care about it. And there's many of congressmen that have said the very same thing. So we have to hold these guys accountable. You hold me accountable. If I come do some plumbing at your house, it doesn't work, you're going to come back and tell me and call me and call me and call me until I finally come back. And the damn thing is, I don't get to charge you any more money. You expect me to actually do the work the first, right the first time around and do it within the budget that I tell you I'm going to do it in. Why don't we hold these politicians who have millions and millions upon billions of our dollars as accountable, as you will hold a lowly plumber or a carpenter or a mechanic or a chef that you go to a restaurant at? It makes no sense. You're willing to get all raged up about a $100 bill, but these people are spending billions. They're spending your children's money. You've heard this time and time again. You have to keep hearing it because you have to know how true it is. So we have a responsibility. We have accountability, education. Now, I believe in practicing what I preach. My son's captain of the football team. Very proud of him. He's captain of the wrestling team. I'm very proud of him. What makes me even more proud of him, he gets straight A's. That's important to me. The teachers teach. Parents' job is to make your children learn. And that's what I do. You know, I sit there and do homework with him. I make sure he's learning and understanding what's going on in the world because that is my job. When I decided to have children, I became secondary. They became my priority first and foremost. And that's what we have to bring back to our society. Morals and values, doing what's right. You know, if you're going to tell somebody you can do a job, then damn well do it. So you got responsibility, accountability, education. The Constitution's real simple, real easy. If it ain't broke, that's about it right there, because I damn well guarantee you the godly men that created this country are a hell of a lot smarter than men and women trying to run this country right now. Pastor King will talk more about that as far as them kicking God out of our country. You know, our founding fathers told us if we kick God out of the country, the Constitution will not work. I mean, these are true words. And I mean, there's actions behind these. I don't have to sit here and give you examples. You see it around you now. I mean, we have people killing each other. We got children killing each other. You know, some lady down in North Carolina or South Carolina a couple days ago drowned her own 2 children. I mean, that's sick and disgusting. But that's something that happens in society constantly. And, you know, I know 100 years ago it didn't happen. That's kind of thinking would have just been absurd. It would never have happened. But unfortunately now it's accepted. They want to call it postpartum depression. They want to give an excuse for anything and everything that goes wrong. You know, we got to stop the excuses. I don't give myself excuses, and I don't let anybody else give my excuses. You know, I don't let my son give me excuses. If it's not done for a reason, then he's in trouble. In a story, I hold him accountable. You know, kind of like with these prisoners that we have. They do the crime, but they end up getting off. You know, I don't know how many times I've read where some guy's killed some lady or raped her or this or that, and he spends 6 years in jail, or he goes to the halfway house, or he goes to get help, you know, and he cries, well, my mommy and daddy abused me. Oh, your mommy and daddy weren't there killing and raping that woman with you. You deserve the death penalty, end of story. But we allow excuses to keep going through our society on a regular basis, and we got to end that. So, responsibility, accountability, education, the Constitution, political correctness, what I call political castration. I call it political castration for the simple reason as to when I asked Barack Obama that question, people come up to me and say, Joe, that was a great question you asked. And, you know, okay, I'll give you that. It was a good question, I thought. You know, it affected me directly about taxes and so on and so forth. But the problem is they come back and say, I'll never do what you did because look what happened to you.